There we are.
Brother. Good morning, afternoon.
Good evening. Good night.
Everybody's time clocks are really thrown off.
Oh, I know, right?
Justin, I was ready to be a morning person. Justin, I was ready to go back to the gym. I go
next week. You know what I've been doing is during our meetings and stuff like that is just with the equipment I have inside of my quarantine area is just working out with it. It's just, bro, just South body movement, calisthenics, bro, old school.
Yeah, for sure. I try to walk at least every day. Luckily I live in a rural area. Yeah, man. So, even I obviously get confused about the different terminology as far as different positions within the medical field. I think the average person does. They don't know the difference between all the acronyms and all that kind of stuff. So, I just kind of wanted to go on here and talk to you. I know we talked privately the other day about it, and just kind of in light of your background, what's some of your thoughts right now on what's going on how people should be, conducting themselves. Obviously the financial side of things, we can get into that, but first and foremost, just give us a little bit of your background and kind of your thoughts on what's going on right now.
Well, I'm Billy. I'm 40 years old. I've been involved in the medical field since the fall of after 9/11 occurred. In fact, I got into the medical field because of 9/11.
Oh, wow.
My mother woke me up that morning and told me I needed to see what was going on. And then I witnessed the second plane go into the tower. Wow. There was a bit of, there was sadness and then jealousy all at the same time. Sadness was that the world was going to be changed and it was going to be changed forever. And jealousy was, here are these men and women doing something with their life in a way that I have always desired to do something greater. So I proceeded to become a first responder and take the courses and then do my EMT, and was an EMT for a while at a trauma center for 2 years as a tech inside of a hospital.
Okay.
And then became a bartender while I went through paramedic school. And that whole process from start to finish took about a year and a half. And then I became a medic. I had to work down in Southern California in the LA area for about 9 months. And then I moved back up to the Central California because I'm from Whittier originally, is where I was born.
Oh, okay.
California. And then my mom married when I was 11, to my father Grady when they met when I was 8. Sorry about that interruption.
No worries.
And I realized that, he was a doctor. My dad's an anesthesiologist. My mother was a nurse for an L&D for 20 years. Oh, so we have a medical family. My sister's an esthetician. Oh, right. Wow. My baby mama's a trauma management coordinator at San Joaquin General here in a town called Stockton. Wow. So my father grew up in Compton and traveled the U.S. doing his education and then landed in the Central Valley in a town called Modesto. So just been having a natural background in medicine for years, and then had babies with a woman in the medical field.
Is it like Grey's Anatomy? Is that how it is?
You know what, man? When it comes to the flirtation stuff, or when it comes to the what is that? There's some things, and then there's some like where they're like doing compressions or stuff like that. It's like, dude, what are they doing? So sometimes it's hard for us to swallow those things, but when it comes to like the cheeky things. yeah, for sure. Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Then I did that for several years, and then I left the Central. I left California, moved to Miami, and got into the entertainment industry. And made incredible contacts and blessed out there. Worked alongside big names, and I'm not a big name dropper, but you and I have talked about it before.
Yeah.
And then I moved home and realized that my life, I had a daughter and didn't know about it, and so moved home and walked and healed from that whole process. And in that healing, decided to have another baby with the same person and had my son with her. And, I think forgiveness is a big thing and moving forward is a big thing. But unfortunately, in the forgiveness and moving forward, there was repeating the old history, right? The old things that we shouldn't have done before that we said we never do again, we did again. So we were kind of like in the exact same situation we were 7 years prior to all that. And in those years, from the time that I wanted to become an EMT to becoming a paramedic and to moving back home from Miami, all of that, I was married and divorced twice in those moments, and suffered some real ailments, went through depression, fought a battle one evening of wanting to commit suicide by taking pills, struggling with my faith, grew up in church. I'm not a real religious person, but I do have faith and I do have a relationship with God. And I have always been born and just wanted to help people. So when people don't really understand what a medic is, when we have those conversations, and not really knowing how I could serve people, a medic is basically a physician in the hospital, and an EMT is like being a nurse.
Okay.
There's different educational levels and licensure that we have to pass. So I realized to be able to do more for people and help people, you need to go further and educate yourself more. Yeah. And I kind of brought up that moment, in which we don't learn from in our past, we're destined to repeat. So one of the things I had never learned was, how do I help people not only medically but financially? And a couple of years ago, almost now, it's going to be coming up it's going to be coming up in April. Actually, it's going to be. Well, let me rephrase that. When I got serious about it, it's going to be coming up on 3 years. So, and I got into the financial field, and because I realized not only did I have a heart to help people, actually medically or physically, but financially as well. And that sometimes one of the reasons why people are unfortunately in the state of health or panic or stress or things that lead to health issues is all rooted back to the lies and the deceit that have come through the industry of money. Yeah. And people either taking it from them and promising them something that they never came through with or anything like that. So, just like medical, not everybody can be saved, but more can be helped than they think. Yeah. And you can actually nurse people back to life, not only medically, but financially.
Yeah. So in light of your background, both as a paramedic and now in the financial space, what are your thoughts on what's happening right now?
Well, one, just touching on medical stuff, I have chosen to quarantine myself because I still work part-time in the medical field as a paramedic. The reason why I do that is because I want my feet in the water and at ground zero with people that I strive to build through my financial firm and agency, a global-wide nonprofit that will go in and extract women and children from sex trafficking. Mm-hmm. So in doing that, I serve in a community called Manteca, and doing that part-time, I can't really expose myself to people going in and out of those worlds, especially my kids. Right. So right now, my father, who is a doctor, my mother's a retired nurse and retired esthetician, and she used to own a medical spa and has done many things. They are actually quarantined in their house. I'm in the backyard in their pool house. My sister is at her home with her daughter, and my baby mom is in her home, not too far, about a mile from here with my kids. So I've actually been quarantined from my kids for, today is Monday, so it's been officially 8 days. My son's birthday was Saturday, and I had to go there with a mask and long sleeve clothes and gloves on and sing through the glass window and not able to touch him or hug him.
Now, isn't it crazy that someone like yourself, with your background, is taking it extra serious, and then you have all these people going to the beach, hanging out, going to bars, like it's like it's nothing. and we obviously we've been through epidemics before, we've been through natural disasters before. So on one hand, like, it's no big deal. It's just another one of those things. We're going to get through it. On the other hand, there's something different about this, and that I've never seen this kind of response from the government, or from, you know, schools closing at this level, sports leagues closing at this level. So it's crazy to me how many people are not taking this seriously. And not that I'm trying to get on here and scare people, but I just wanted to have that, you know, credibility that you bring as a paramedic, and you're out in the field and you're talking to other medical professionals, to the point where you're so quarantined that you weren't able to fully go to your son's birthday, and you were fully covered and you stayed outside. I mean, I saw the video of you saying hi to him through the window, like, and which is heartbreaking, but also, like, I give you props for doing that and setting that example, because there's so many people out there that aren't taking it seriously, and posting these videos of them quarantine party with all their homies. I'm like, you guys are missing the point. Like, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, speak on that a little more.
First and foremost, I'm not you got to be leery of people that say I'm an expert, right? Right. But I am informed. Right. And, you know, knowledge is power as long as you do something with it, right? Right. If you have knowledge and you don't do anything with it, then that knowledge at some level has turned into fear. And
it's dangerous, yeah.
It's very dangerous.
Yeah.
So when people have certain knowledge, they like to just share whatever they want, right?
Right.
All I can speak of is what I know and what I've seen. Since my inception, 40 years, almost 41 years now, it'll be 41 in May, I have never seen a global reaction at this level, right? And being in the medical field since 2001, I have never seen a global reaction to it. Yeah. So let's get central. Let's get local. So I can only speak on what is going on around me. Yeah. When Trump talked a couple weeks ago, about a week and a half ago now, on a Friday, a lot of people didn't understand is when he released those sanctions on because everyone wants to know, how come who's exposed, we're finding out? Because there is no law anymore. There is no HIPAA. Right. There isn't anything that's governing that. And the reason why they're letting you know is because they're trying to inform people, don't go around this artist, don't go around this actor, don't go around this hotel. Don't. Right. The reason why they're saying is because there isn't a question. But a lot of people don't know that coronavirus is just like a name for like swine flu or the flu or other bird flu, stuff like that. Corona is just used as an overall umbrella. COVID-19 is the strain of the virus. Yeah. So when, you know, Cardi B, when she's like coronavirus, people weren't made aware of that, right? Yeah. And you think about it, if you look on some of your Clorox box, it says to disinfect and eliminate coronavirus. So there's little things that people don't pay attention to, right? Of course. But it's a twofold thing. So medically, in my area, we are having policies changed by men and women who have never worked in the medical field at all, because it's controlled by county boards that you elect. Right. Right. When it comes to law, that's why it's so important that you elect the right sheriff, because he's the only true law in the U.S. from what I understand. Other local law is not recognized in moments like this. Sheriff runs the county. That's why the sheriff, you know, that's what they said. There's a new sheriff in town. That's where that comes from. You know what I mean? You kind of gave me that. Yeah. And the reality of it is here's this policy done. Here's this policy done. Here's this policy like day after day after day. We're having emergency meetings. I'm trying to figure out how to go to an extremely important policy meeting, but not show up, which is why I'm so grateful for Zoom. Yeah. Zoom as a company is a pinnacle piece of communication right now that no one's gonna even understand, that not even Facebook can even understand, because a pinnacle company is going to allow you, like Zoom, to stay in contact and learn new ways to relate in these harsh times. When you talked about me, because there's no right and wrong, we don't know what we don't know. We don't know what we don't know about finances. We don't know what we don't know about medical, right? Yeah. But what I know is what I'm seeing and feeling firsthand.
Yeah.
I know that there's military people rolled into California and they've been here for a little bit. I know in my county, I'm getting checked before I even start work and enter the doors. I'm getting checked every 12 hours. I'm getting checked before I go into the hospital. We're maybe not even going into the hospital. The rules that have been lifted from us is the reality of this. We don't have to treat you if you are endangering us, because rules in our laws are saying that scene safety is the most important thing for paramedics, firefighters, and local police officers.
Similar to like police, right? Like if they feel threatened. Yeah.
Shoot now, ask questions later. And how many false deaths have we experienced because of that law, right? And there are going to be false deaths because of people's actions. The reason why martial law, if it comes, or more extreme laws come, people don't know that their actions are going to change our rights.
Yeah.
And that I'm not going to blame this on millennials like everybody wants, and I'm not going to blame this on,
to clarify, there was a funny meme that said millennials are staying home yelling at their parents and worried about anxiety. Like it's Gen Z, the younger ones that are, 21, trying to go out and live their spring break, which I understand it's heartbreaking if you're a
but you have friends in
old
the industry, and I have friends in the industry that are still doing little concerts, going to their local clubs and FaceTiming it. The girlfriends are going to their house and doing their twerking videos, and it's just like, dude, the reason why this is moving so fast, and this is the thing, that it's 5 times more like potent than the flu, right? Yeah. That means it's coming quickly. Yeah. But the reality is, reason why it's moving so fast is because it's aerosol. So the worst kind of biochemical weapon is one that is airborne. This is airborne. Yeah. And it enters through your eyes, it enters through your nose, and it enters through your mouth. Yeah. And if you're not wearing goggles.
Wash my hands, by the way. Huh? So I wash my hands, by the way. You never realize how much you touch your face. You're like, oh my God.
So the reality of it is, if you're not washing your hands, like they say, with foam type stuff under warm water, if you're not drinking warm water, the little things they're telling you, those are things to listen to, because we're trying to circumvent the problem. We're trying to find anything that's going to like go around it by not.
Doesn't apply to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a cultural problem. It's an American cultural problem. I think you could say what you want about some of the other countries, but countries like China, Germany, South Korea, they got on top of it early, and they're seeing great results because they just got the program overnight. Americans still are not listening. Yeah. And there's people, and again, I'm not here to create fear. I'm just here to like tell people like, hey, like, even for myself, of course, I'm a social person. I'm getting invited to this and getting invited to that. And I'm like, I don't think you guys understand what quarantine means. And I'm just trying to do my part to not add to the problem, because I come in touch with a lot of people. And so Evolve Retrograde was talking about being selfish. They're in Mexico. Let's see, anybody who's on at the bottom right, there's a little area with a question mark. I actually posted a question. If you have any questions for Billy, or you can post them in the comments. And just to give you the background, Billy is a paramedic, also now working in the financial space, so he's kind of passionate about both fields. And we were just talking the other day about, how serious people are not taking this, especially in California. It's kind of an inconvenience. It's kind of a joke. And I know we're all bored and I know we're all frustrated, but it's much more serious than that. So yeah, let's just keep talking about that side of things.
Yeah, I think one of the things that people got to understand and look at it is that you can't circumvent it. You can't go around this. The only way to kind of handle something is head on. If your financials are suffering, you got to look at them head on. If you're a medical person, in the sense of your disease is like rising and getting out of control, you need to do it head on. We are aggressive when we first come in on scenes to handle stuff immediately, because the reality is, we call it right. The Platinum 10 basically means that we have 10 minutes to really assess and get everything done in a actual, genuine, critical situation.
Okay.
Right. We
like
use
a car accident
we use it mostly in mass casualty incidents or trauma. And then there's that golden hour, which is with trauma as well, but also can be within the treatment, that if you don't get the proper treatment within the first hour, things start to really, really get bad there, right?
No ball.
So kids that are under 2 that are, premature or have low immune systems are fighting. That's why they're getting their vaccines, which there's that debate that we're not going to get into whether they're good or bad. And then
Yeah.
people that are since younger, people that are older, that are above 60, you're looking at those people as their immune systems are getting bad too as they've gotten older, right?
Right.
And what people call children silent carriers, or other people as silent carriers, where you see NFL players now and basketball players primarily, when in the initial part, say, I don't have any symptoms. Dope. Either do the people that have flu, because they have antibodies in there. And the reality is, just because you don't have symptoms doesn't mean you're not contagious.
Well, and
those
also
are two different things.
professional athletes are probably the most, the best physical specimens that we have in our culture. So I would hope
their
that they're
immune
going to be
systems
strong
are going to
enough
be amazing.
to fight. Yeah. And they're like, yeah, of course, if you're a professional athlete, then you should be able to fight this off. But that's not the point. The point is, who are you in contact with that can't?
Correct. So what we just decided is, because news has always been so false, we as a family, as a tribe, decided, you know what? Billy's gonna be exposed. My dad's gonna be exposed, and Katie, my baby mama's gonna be exposed, right? We can't have all that exposure. So what are we gonna do? Well, we decided that I would be the person. So if I die, it is what it is. I have life insurance. I have done my due diligence to save money and put things in the proper places for my children. But at the same time, there's no reason for me to risk my family's life.
Yeah. So I don't know if you can see the picture, but Evolve Retrograde says, how airborne is it? For example, how far can it travel in the air before falling to a surface?
Well, that depends, right? That depends on your climate. That depends on, like, we'll take this. Easy.
There's Mexico, so it should be a little warmer down there.
So hopefully I'm sorry I don't speak Spanish. I wish I did. But I speak a little bit, but not enough. But the reality is this. When you sneeze or cough, it comes out extremely fast, right? And sneezing, we'll just use that. It can come out. I don't want to, like I said, I'm not some big medical person, all these things. But they always say it comes out like at 90 miles per hour, right? So that's going to travel roughly anywhere between 6 to 8 meters, not feet. Meters, every meter, for those who don't know math, it's literally going to travel 18 to 24 feet.
Meters like 2 point, it's almost 3. Almost 3.
Yeah, it's 3 feet per, there's 3 feet in a meter. It's like 2 point something, but it's almost 3 feet, right? So now that's traveling that way, right? So now let's take wind.
Right.
You guys ever been driving down the freeway or driving down the highway or walking, you see those, it just whips up. So when we say it's aerosol, it's like, how does it do it? There's surfaces that they're saying that it hits like glass or like steel, and it's live for 9 days.
But again, like, even in that question, and we're all guilty of it. We're all guilty of it. How can I bend the rules as much as possible? You're asking the wrong questions. You know what I mean? A lot of people are saying, like, okay, well, how much of my life can I keep normal and not have to be inconvenienced? It's essentially what a lot of people are asking, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, you're asking the wrong questions. And it sucks. Trust me, it sucks. And my heart goes out. We can get into this later. Also, more on the financial side of things. There are people that literally have to work, have to get out in the streets and find a way to make money, whether that's driving Uber, whether that's driving for food or working at a restaurant of some kind, working in the kitchen. And a lot of it is transferred on those surfaces. Cardboard, I mean, even delivery food. I want to support local restaurants, but I'm also like, dang, you don't know where that. I mean, I'm seeing videos now of the people are catching other people getting their food, and are the people delivering your food taking those precautions? I don't know. You know what I mean? And again, we're not here to drive people crazy, but if you can stay home, stay home. I don't know how else to say it.
This right now is an industry where I'm lucky enough that my industry, both of them, my financial industry, dealing and protecting people's finances and financial legacies, and me being a medical professional are all have been okayed by government and basically declared essential jobs.
Right.
So, but also, like I said, Zoom has allowed me to keep myself further safe and my clients safe by, we have this motto that we say, no family left behind, right?
Right.
The military says that, says leave no man behind. Yeah. In the medical field, we're just kind of like, hey, you go, we go. You know what I mean? That's how it is. And to have that ability to say, I can actually not leave your family left behind, by showing you that I mean that, by not leaving my own family left behind, by me going outside and exposing myself to them when I come back home. Because everything that Zoom is doing, everything that our platform is doing for our financial firm is allowing us to work everything from home. All the top medical people are trying to figure this out. All the top actual protective oriented platforms and agencies that protect money are figuring this out. How can we put this all online? Yeah. How can we accept signatures online? How do we, they're finding all this out because they realize, getting back to the very beginning, we don't know how long this is going to last. We just don't, because there's no cure for it. And honestly, when there has been cures, you get those conspiracy theorists. We've talked about that too. Somehow the creator of the cure dies and you never see the cure. So it's just like, what in the world happened? Like, what happened to it? And then they all, you know what I'm saying? You get into the idea of like, okay, so maybe this just comes into a vaccine, but that's not even out there just yet, supposedly. Like right now, I mean, Jordan, I can't get tested for COVID-19. They're not going to waste that on me.
That's crazy.
So they're not going to waste it on me. Like the people that get to drive up and do supposedly those free testings, I haven't been outside in 3 days. So I don't know if they set up those places at the Walmart, the CVS, the Walgreens, like Trump said. But I've asked my people who have been out in the streets, and they're like, "We ain't seen them. We haven't seen them at all." And it's just like, okay, Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of different opinions about what's going on, how things are happening. And on one hand, it's like you don't want to be glued to the TV because a lot of that is just negativity, and a lot of that is just each, whether it's left or right, they have their own agenda and their own slant on things. But I think it's good to be informed and try to gather from different resources about what's happening. But the mentality of like, hey, like you're having, I'm going to do my part to go the extra mile. Having that extra mile mentality instead of the, like, what's the bare minimum? How much can I get away with? How much can I not change my lifestyle? And I think, and again, I'm not here to judge anybody. At the same time, it's like, imagine, how would you feel if you didn't take the precautions you're taking now, and then one of your parents or grandparents got sick, or one of your kids got sick? How would you feel knowing that you could have prevented it?
You're 100% correct about my feeling. It is one of the reasons why I will tell you.
You're a paramedic, and there's other people out there who go on Google one time and they think that they know what they're talking about.
Oh, of course. Bro, I have people in the medical field that I work with that are PAs and doctors, and they're just like, dude, I'm exposed anyway, so I'm just going. And it's just like, okay. But that's why we don't know, like, you've been sick how many times in your life, right?
Yeah.
But we don't know which one's going to catch us slipping.
Yeah.
Which time? I'm just saying, hey, I was given 2 children by God to watch on the face of this earth and do the best I can to raise them the way that God leads me to do so.
Yeah.
I don't get to look up in heaven and just say, hey, man, I just need to go have me a nice, like, IPA right now. And like, me, people who really know me, Jordan, know that I love sushi in a very, very, very beautiful way.
Me too.
Like, I don't even know when I get to have that next time. But it's not worth me in the sense of going to get it because someone else didn't care at all. Why should, like this, right? In our financial world, we talk about, why would you leave the outcome of your future legacy and financial, like, freedom in someone else's hands? Why would you not make sure you knew you were taken care of properly, right?
Right.
So the same thing medically goes out. Why would I go expose myself or expose another? I'm showing, as a medical professional, I care about you as a family. Now, I can't go out and stop. Like, I can't just not go work, right? But while I'm building my home business that I have, and I can work from a home office because of what I can do financially, I may never have to go report into the field. But because of my calling that God has given me, I will go out into the field. But when I do it, I would have done everything to keep myself safe to enter that, and everything while I'm in there safe to exit that.
Right.
I'm just executing it. And I don't know what the outcome is.
And again, whereas you're taking the you know, you have to do certain things. You're taking those precautions. But again, there's a lot of people that are not at all. They're not taking it seriously at all. They're taking no precautions, and they're just bored and frustrated. And again, I get it. But, you know, a good friend of mine just jumped on right now who owns a restaurant bar downtown Monterey. And, I mean, Monterey is, you know, is going to be hit really hard because it's primarily going to be, you know, tourism and hospitality is the main thing. So let's talk more on the financial side of things. Let's see, Dave, can you see the comments?
Yeah, I see him.
You see what David Fox just said? Read it. Let's see.
Point made. Agreed wholeheartedly. We could be hurting people and not even know it. Let's build at home when possible and keep safe working in the field. The reality of this, right? We have a way to protect people's finances. The odd thing is the transfer of wealth of $73 trillion is going to happen within the next 20 years. The first baby boomers started retiring 9 years ago, right? Yeah. But the truth of the matter is this. If they're a baby boomer, that puts them in the fragile bracket of people that cannot be risked to be exposed to this. So how would you feel as a financial literacist and advisor that you not only brought and protected this family's legacy, but because you exposed them, 2 weeks later, you're delivering their policy.
Yeah.
And you got to take that into account, because if we really mean leave no family left behind, and our platform is giving us the opportunity, our leadership is giving us the opportunity to work from home, covering the expenses, paying, at this point, hundreds of thousands of dollars immediately to get things up and running as fast as they can. Why would you not utilize that to show that you truly believe no family left behind?
Yeah. Well, what's tough is that a lot of the folks that you're talking about and that are, you know, compromised maybe in their health and need this conversation are also probably not tech savvy, probably not going to jump on Instagram Live or or on Zoom, right? So there's challenges for sure. So my friend Anthony, he's talking about, he has a business in Monterey, a bar and restaurant. And you know, my heart goes out to all my friends that own businesses here in Monterey and Salinas, or anywhere really, that are going to be affected. Anthony, are you still doing delivery?
There's also
what are you seeing in there in your area in the Central Valley for some of the businesses that are being, you know, but they're being conscious of the health dynamics, taking their precautions, but also still being creative? Medical professional, how would you recommend a business owner, let's say someone who owns a restaurant, who's just trying to survive the next couple of weeks financially, who's been really hit by this, but is still trying to be creative? How can someone be creative in their business, but also still be careful medically?
I think they should illustrate this. They should have a deep cleaning twice a day.
Okay.
I think they should keep their hours very small. I think they should mobilize in the sense of quarantining, and that's what I mean. Mobilize in the sense of creating movement in a quarantine area where they take themselves out of it. They allow people to come in it, grab what they're bought, because you can do Venmo, you can do PayPal, there's always ways to pay, right?
Yeah.
But also understanding that a certain amount of exposure to that, when you come in, if you really want to do that stuff, offer masks, or to have them, if you're going to come in, have something else. Honestly, we would encourage you as medical professionals. You and I talked about this morning, early this morning, or actually that was last night, about Harbor Freight that donated all their stuff. And I told you we should reach out to them and help their clients, help their administration, and say, look, and I took that very close to heart. I was like, dude, you're really going to protect my other part of my life that way? My baby mama, if she had to go back, or my father, how can I help you protect your finances? Because everybody doesn't understand that old money doesn't make new money. Like, it doesn't work that way. Just like old ways of medicine right now are not working for this new style of virus.
Right.
So people got to understand that if you're going to do something great, you got to be able to do something you've never done before. And this is a time where a lot of people are losing money, but there's no greater opportunity now than to help the amount of people that you can. Like, there's so many opportunities to make money and secure your money.
Yeah.
If you have done things the same way, this is your opportunity to evolve. God has given us a moment that we are slothing things off that we don't need. Like, let me tell you something that's beautiful and sad. The times I had to go out of this house, not because I want to, but because I had to. I see mom and dads walking together with their kids.
Yeah.
I see kids riding their bikes, adults riding bikes.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, when I was in my neighborhood, Jordan, when I was a kid, that happened all the time. I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
In 20 years.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it took a pandemic for you to spend more time with your son and your daughter and your family members. But the reality is this. It shouldn't have taken us to get here in order for you to do what you should have been doing, right?
Yeah. Well, so Anthony mentioned too, it's a good point to bring up. He said, got to protect my family and house from smash and grab, since the governor said petty crimes won't get punished. So go to work or protect my family first. Like, yeah, there's people that are making, tough decisions, because some of those businesses are probably, it's an element that we haven't seen on a mass scale yet. But of course, in any situation like this, there's going to be some, some looters. There's going to be some criminals that prey on these kind of situations, right? And I've already heard of people. I don't know if it's true. I saw it go viral. Everyone says it was in their neighborhood, and that's the danger of social media, is that people spread pictures on social media, and then
they lie.
Well, they don't know the source. Oh, I saw it on, all of a sudden it's the game of telephone, right? And I saw the same picture of people in hazmat suits at a doorbell. So someone on Ring took a picture, and then every little neighborhood group on Facebook, and every little neighborhood, because I have friends all over the world. So I see things. So when I see the same picture saying, oh, I heard this was in Salinas. Oh, I heard this was in Sacramento. It's like, okay. But one of the things they're saying is that people are going around in hazmat suits saying they're inspectors and robbing people. And again, I don't know if that's true or not. I saw the same picture in different locations, so it made me think that particular story wasn't true. But, I know that there's some terrible people out there, and that might be an issue. And so, Anthony brings up a good point that people are just in a tough spot. They're stressed out because, on the smallest level of people haven't spent this much time with their kids, and it's driving them crazy. So I think after this, the appreciation level for teachers and nurses and grocery store folks and truck drivers is going to be just through the roof.
Through the roof. Blue-collar workers who we have said before and told people they're the backbone of America. And that's one of the things that within our financial firm that we do is we aim our guns at the enemies of people who won't protect people like that, and saying, let us protect you and show you what we can do. Just like we, as medical professionals, go into the roughest areas to pull out, the victims that shouldn't be in
you
there.
really see how it is local. For me, I'm a political nerd. I'm a historical nerd. Like, I'm very well versed in what's actually happening historically, both from the traditional education sense and from the conspiracy theorist sense. Like, that's a whole other conversation. I don't see the value in getting into those conversations right now. I have a few friends that I can have those kind of conversations with. What I will tell you is that, like, it's an unprecedented time across the board. And I don't necessarily, whatever your politics are, whether you're freaking voting for Bernie Sanders or you love Trump, like, to me, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you can talk about your political philosophy. Right now, the shit is hitting the fan, and we have to come together. And it's not just about Americans. It's about freaking worldwide. This is happening, Like, there was more deaths the other day in Italy in one day than in China. And Italy is a lot smaller than China. So people, I'm seeing things all the time that people are taking serious, and it's crazy. So for me, again, I don't necessarily know what's going to happen federally. They're talking about stimulus packages. They're talking about, again, there's the conspiracy theorist side, right? It's like, oh, you have to sign up for the census if you want that relief check. It's like, oh, you got us. So all the people that don't want to get vaccines or don't want to register to vote or don't want to sign up for the census, oh, but you want that $2,000 check or whatever it's going to be. It's putting everybody in a tough spot. And again, I'm not an expert. I'm not saying what's actually happening. I don't know. What I do know is that we can support each other locally. And whether you're Republican or Democrat, Mexican, white, black, whatever, male, female, none of that matters when you're talking about taking care of the elderly. You're talking about taking care of kids. I think we can all agree that those things are important. Like Anna said, like, at the end of the day, like, if you're I would hope that we could find a solution to where good regular people wouldn't have to resort to desperate measures like stealing or like looting or that kind of thing. Of course, there's going to be the criminals out there that are going to do it no matter what, and we have to support each other. And if you recognize those signs, I think we should, have something in place to support each other as a community. And that's always what I said. I mean, I come from a small town, and our mentality has always been like, we don't call the cops first. If we can handle it ourselves, we'll handle it ourselves. And that's going to start happening in certain communities. You know what I mean? And so to the point where it's kind of like, if you see somebody that you know, maybe not a stranger, but you see somebody that you know, and they're just disregarding all of these mandates and they're disregarding all these ways to keep people safe, like, we're going to have to start checking some people. Like, hey, fool, I saw you throwing a party on Instagram. You need to knock that shit off. Like, whatever. Like, if you have enough relationship with them, right? And you actually care. You care. I mean, if I was acting a fool with somebody that I care about, if you called me and say, hey, man, like this and that, I would listen to that. You know what I mean? If it's just a random hater, probably not.
I agree with your philosophy. This is how I feel. I think, I think we're a society that just wants love, but doesn't know two things: how to receive it or give, Yeah. So when a state of emergency like this is going on, that's not local, but is global. It is very important for us to understand and respect. The average person knows about 2,000 people by the time they're 20. Think about how many people are calling you to help you. And then take note of the ones that aren't.
Yeah.
Because when it really hits the fan, because we're not there, bro.
No.
We're just not there.
No.
And
well, everyone's obviously sad about not being able to go to school or going to the bars or whatever. But when it's really going to hit the fan is if somehow we lose power or Wi-Fi or water, then shit's really going to hit the fan. And one of the things that I, again, not to get political, one of the things I'm passionate about, my dad's family's immigrated from Mexico, worked in the fields, and it was during a different time and era governmentally when they did that. But, being from the Central Coast, like I have a different perspective. Being from an agricultural community, the social dynamics here are different than other communities. And so our connection to immigration and those kind of things is different than other, and Central Valley is the same way. So when people want to judge and make assumptions about other people from other places, it's like, hey, you guys are fighting over toilet paper. And there's been people that have been living in quarantine for 5 years in Syria, not just quarantine, bombs dropping around their house. Like, school's been canceled. You know what I mean? Like, social gatherings have been canceled in places that are dealing with real shit. And us Californians are being slightly inconvenienced and we're losing our shit. It's like, ugh.
Yeah.
But
I affirm this, right? I've never feared death, but I don't want jail. And I have and I'll tell you this, I have learned I'll never make it to prison. Ever. Yeah. And I feel bad for the cop that may have to shoot me or whatever.
Yeah.
But there's no way I'm going to jail, bro. Yeah. My personality is not built for this, but I'm willing to do what it takes in this aspect of my life, bro. If anybody gives me an opportunity to help them financially, and anybody gives me an opportunity to help them spiritually, and if I have the means to help them physically throughout all of this time, I will do all of those things wanting nothing in return but your most precious thing, and that is just a little bit of your time because you asked me for mine.
Right. So
let's equally trade that, right? But while I'm not sharing my time with you, I'm preparing myself to share my time with you.
Yeah.
So I could be ready. That people always say, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. I laughed at that for many years, Jordan.
Yeah.
I just did. And I'm just
it's the same, same issue that a lot of times that we talk about on the financial side with life insurance, right? A lot of people, and again, coming from a mentality in the community, there's a certain mentality of like not trusting government, not trusting financial institutions, not trusting the next person, right? And there's sometimes when you sit down with someone, you talk about life insurance, it's like, oh, I don't want the next guy to get all my money, kind of mentality. It's like, wait, what? And it's that sense of like, hey, this isn't necessarily for you. Although even though now with the new products, people actually can access money while they're alive.
Yeah.
I went through that myself with my family. It's a whole other story. But basically, a lot of folks don't necessarily have the mentality of taking care of of their people and things beyond them. You know what I mean? It's like, well, as long as I'm good, I'm good. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the mentality you're seeing with the people taking their risks medically. It's also like financially, like, you know, you have to think about what's going to happen beyond you, or even currently, are you taking those steps to make sure your house is clean and safe, your house is in order, whether that's physically or financially or spiritually? Are you taking those steps, or are you kind of just like taking it day by day, seeing what happens? Like, you know, it's in these moments that different people kind of show their true colors, you know?
Guaranteed. I had a conversation with a couple related friends. One of us, you know, you and I share a mutual friend called Randy.
Yeah.
And then there's some other people I've discussed about that. Right now, we are going to have a shift of power and financial wealth, just like it has happened every single time.
Yeah.
And right now is not a time to rest. Like, you know, you and I talk, like, I can't even sleep anymore. Like, I sleep for a few hours and I'm up because I just feel this calling that, like, whatever it is, it's coming. And I felt that kind of impendingness. And what I meant by not staying ready was there was things I should have got in line to be more properly prepared to help others, that I'm getting in line for my own family, that I'm wasting time not being able to help others because I didn't do what I should have done for my own.
Yep.
And this is an opportunity and time for you to sit there, and you're forced to sit there. And think about this, you know, God talks in the Bible about plagues, fires, and insects. Like, and the reality of it is, well, you got to pay attention to the times, and in those times, like, what are we going to learn right now? And I just think one of the things is, life isn't a game.
Yeah.
But we all can play to win. Take heed to what others are saying.
Yeah.
And don't put yourself or others at risk.
Yeah.
And most importantly, give this time and spend it in the most profitable way you can. Yeah. So when we are released to enjoy one another's company again, that we continue to respect each other, not social distance, but respect each other's space. Yeah. Respect each other's way of thinking.
Be more conscious.
Just more conscious, man, and spend those time with your kids. Don't throw that away. Like, you're going to be creating habits. Like they say, it takes 21 days to create a new habit. What if this quarantine goes past that? You're going to have new habits. So what are you going to do? You're going to have new habits. At least you hope. If not, two things are going to happen. Your habits are going to be more productive or less productive. Either way, it's a new habit. You know, either way, I'm right. And the idea of it is, what will your new habit be?
Right.
You know, what will my new habit be?
Yeah.
Well, mine right now is I'm working my butt off to help as many of my friends and family members as I can if they give me a chance. And I'm preparing myself to give of myself and my life when I go out into the field and I help those that ring the bell and call 911.
Yeah, so anybody who's watching who's, you know, a friend of yours or connected to you, you know, reach out to Billy and direct message. Same to me, reach out to me, direct message. We can set up a video conference like this or a Zoom call, just talk things over. You know, fortunately for us, even I was just able to close a real estate deal the other day remotely. A lot of the work had already been done, but I was concerned that we weren't going to be able to do that. So luckily we were able to, because you know, anything real estate related is similar to like banking, where they can still process paperwork digitally. And like you said, I mean, we were able to do policies remotely. We're able to do, I mean, it's crazy with DocuSign and with Zoom. I mean, it's about, you know, 85-90% of it you can do remotely now, which is crazy. It's probably going to only grow from there. So I think people are getting more and more comfortable because they're forced to. You know, and for me, the whole point of this conversation, I wanted to just show not just a couple of random people with opinions, but with your background and the extra steps that you're taking, you know, medically, and also financially, just to be, you know, for me, this first week, it was kind of, I think everybody went through that same like disbelief and shock and like, wait, is this really happening? Wait, you mean, are you serious? I mean, seriously, we have to change this, we have to change that. And I think the reality of it is setting in now. And I think for me, even personally, like I've been busy from the time I get up to the time I go to bed, but I want to be more conscious of my actual schedule and time and be like, even though, you know, they're saying like students, like try to keep on a normal schedule. You know, parents try to keep on a normal schedule, you know, try to eat well if you can, try to exercise if you can. One thing I've at least done, I get out and get some air and move a little bit every day. you know, everybody lives in different situations, but there's a way that you can still have somewhat of a normal schedule and be somewhat healthy, even in the midst of this, without endangering anybody else. And, you know, what would you recommend on that front?
You and I come from an industry, you longer than me, that always hit us up. Hey man, support me. You know, come to my show, buy my ticket, buy my merch, buy my product. You know, we come to that all the time.
Yeah.
I would encourage people that right now, especially in this time, if you want your freedoms and your life back and the kind of status quo of the mobility and the freedom of mobility, take heed to this season, hunker down for a little bit, get what you need, identify somebody that can be the gopher for your family, and stop putting so many others at risk. And if that person is going to be a gopher, don't put them back into your area. They got to take the responsibility and quarantine themselves. Right. And if you can do those small things, this is going to end so much faster. And that's why everyone's getting frustrated, because it's like, dude, you're right. There's still people just hiking and doing this and that. And it's just like, you know what? At the end of the day, you're going to be able to probably, because I believe this shall pass too, you're going to be able to say at a table where the majority have hunkered down, that, oh man, I was out there and partying and stuff and still having fun. And they're going to look at you and being like, wow, man, because I wasn't. I unfortunately had to be in my house for 2 months because of people like you. Yeah,
I'm actually offered, and my heart goes out to, you know, so my friend Diana, she's actually from Colombia, but she lives in San Antonio now, that it's time for consciousness to think as a we, not just for ourselves. We have been privileged to not have to worry about our basic needs for the most part, but it's time to change our mindset and act. And I agree. Thank you for that, Diana. One of the things that it's superficial in the scale of real life. It doesn't matter, but it also, as Americans, socially, it very much matters. And I feel my heart goes out to the class of 2020, who was getting ready to graduate and go on all their Disneyland trips and their proms and all that. Like, you know, that was awesome. It was a long time ago for us, but it was you know, I mean, great memories. You know what I mean? Because that's the thing, when you're graduating high school, it's not just about high school. I come from a small community, so a lot of those people that I graduated with, I've been since kindergarten. You know what I mean? Like, we've been together for a whole.
Yeah, it's the last hurrah. It's the last hurrah.
It's the last hurrah. So a lot of them are not getting to experience those traditional things, and it's tough. Or athletes, you know what I mean? Like March Madness isn't happening, and though I mean, imagine you worked your whole life to get to the tournament, and now you don't get a tournament. I mean, compared to losing life and what other countries are dealing with, that doesn't actually matter, but it also is a big deal. You know, so my heart goes out to those folks. And locally, I'm talking with my alma mater that I went to high school with, and we're going to figure something out. Whenever they're allowed to have groups again, we're going to throw them a big party. So there's little things like that. It's like, look, with our background, it's like, look, I know it sucks right now, but if you guys handle this right, we're going to throw a party. Trust me. It's going to be like St. Patty's, Cinco de Mayo, 4th of July, all put together. And it's going to be like, it's funny because all the like major festivals either canceled or moved to October. So October is about to be just like
super lit.
Crazy. So if you can, work hard now so you can take all of October off, because it's going to be crazy. Yeah. But,
I love it.
Like I said, you know, you talk about hitting up friends for tickets and stuff. If I see people being stupid right now, you're not invited to the party.
Facts. Bro, I totally feel that way. I just want to tell you, you know, I want to be honoring to your time and mine. You know, we said we were going to do this till 4:30, and I just want to tell you thank you for having me on here. I hope that you and I can collaborate on many adventures in our lives, brother.
Of course.
I just much love and respect to you. Keep yourself safe. As crazy as it sounds, wash your hands. For those 20 seconds under warm water. Keep drinking water. Take things that will boost your immune system right now. And when it comes to the financial thing, I'm just gonna say this and leave it at that. You can't afford to lose what you've lost. So weigh your ego with your bank account. Allow those who are willing to talk to you and try to help you. protect your financial future and legacy for your family. Because if you don't have a financial advisor, you need one. And if you do have a financial advisor, why haven't they called you?
It's a good point. It's a good point.
So
good point, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. And if you know Billy on this, you know, direct message him. If you know me, direct message me, and we can continue the conversation. If there's anybody else who would like to come on like this, or you have any recommendations, send it my way. And I suggest you start doing this with your people too. I mean, it's a good way. I mean, we had a good group on here, lots of comments. So I'm going to go back through and read them from there. But thank you for your time, man. Keep safe out there. Be in touch.
God bless.
All right, bro. Take care.
Bye.